All right, welcome into and happy Friday to Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, of course, the 1010XL app, live on Facebook, and also recorded here in the 1010XL podcast studios, and then shared all over the place wherever you listen and watch podcasts. Of course, the reels go out all over social media as well. We're very heavy into that, so check us out. Check out the 1010XL YouTube channel as well. They've got a Jaguar channel. They've got an overall channel. You can catch all the great programming throughout the day. They got a Gator channel as well. So don't forget about the Gators. And we won't forget about the Seminoles because I got to assume they got to have one for the Seminoles too. So there's probably all three of those.
We do, but you can forget about the Seminoles.
Yeah, forget about the Seminoles. Brought to you
them.
by Team Tommy Mac. You see my Code Ninjas. Once again, congrats to Code Ninjas. They just acquired their 5th location in Northeast Florida. So now they own all 5 as the one franchisee owner. So, hey, listen, great place for your kids to get into summer camp, learning about code, learning about all types of putting a video game together, security, you name it. And check them out at codeninjas.com. 4 weeks or 3 weeks to the draft. We'll get into that. Final Four this weekend. I know this much. I'm a bachelor this weekend, but I'm watching basketball Saturday for sure. I mean, look, I expect, I guess, Florida to beat Auburn because you beat them earlier. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a great game, I would imagine.
It's going to be a hell of a basketball game.
I think the other two as well. I mean, those two, and I haven't been watching. I'm just going by what I've seen so far, but I mean, those big guys are going to go at it, Houston and Duke.
Yeah,
they're going to go at it. That's going to be fun to watch. Who can stay out of foul trouble? I mean, that you don't even think of that going in, you know, or I don't, but I'm sure you do when you're like, well, this guy's he's 3 fouls, you know, he could get close, you know, that kind of thing.
So you need depth.
Yeah.
Especially in your front with your bigs.
Yeah, totally.
You got to have a big or two that can come off the bench and give you minutes.
Absolutely.
Because in college, man, they blow
Gators
whistles quick.
Gators do. That
4
number,
deep.
Yeah.
4 deep with bigs.
Yeah, you guys are good, man.
But I think in college, you have a media timeout right around like the 4-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the last media timeout of the game.
Yep.
I think in both games, when that media timeout is made, you're going to have no idea who's going to win in both games. I think it's going to be that tight with both games.
Yeah, it should be a great weekend. Looking forward to that. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer, man. One of, at least from my era, one of the best actors that you've seen. I mean, I wrote down these iconic roles. I hope I'm not missing any, but think about this. And it was Doc Holliday, of course. Iceman in Top Gun. Jim Morrison, The Doors. And whoever he played in Heat. Heat, one of my favorite all-time action movies. That shoot-down scene in L.A. is absolutely incredible. But what a great yeah, you're right, DJ Hollywood. All right, St. Patrick. He thinks Duke might give you a run for money, but we're not going to talk basketball on this weekend. We can talk about anything. It's going to be fun. We'll get into it. At least, you know, we'll see how the Final Four goes. But Val was great. You know, 65 years of age. God bless him a little bit. You know, that's very, very tough. So I was thinking about the show today. The NFL draft is 3 weeks away. I don't know if the rumors are true, but you're hearing now that Sanders is dropping a little bit. I don't think he'll get past New Orleans, maybe at 9, they say, but that could be interesting. I tell you, the closer we get, Grammage, and good morning to you, man. I didn't officially announce you, but you're here.
Hello, sir. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man. Happy Friday. I think this top half of the draft, 5 picks, 6, 7, 8 picks, it's going to be pretty exciting. Depending on what goes down, right? You know, like if Sanders slides, someone eventually is going to want to come up. You know, who takes Travis Hunter? You know, if he goes, you know, at 3, you know, maybe the Giants. Look, you don't make those moves without. I mean, Sanders is such a project, in my opinion. Why would you bring in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to have a rookie that in this class, the class isn't even very good? It's okay. Now, we don't know until they get into the league. It might be a great class. Who knows? That dark kid may end up in the other kid from where's he from? I keep forgetting his. He's the new quarterback on the scene. He's been around for a little bit, but he can whip the ball a ton. I want to say Arkansas. It's not Arkansas though. You know what I'm talking about? Not Jackson Dart. I know who that guy is. It's another kid that has a whip for an arm. Big, strong kid. I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
you can look it up while we're talking, if you don't mind, just so I don't sound totally stupid. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting how it falls to our Jags. Now, every mock draft has Mason Graham, us picking Mason Graham from Detroit. Look, I'll go on record to say whoever they pick, I'm gonna be pulling for.
Tyler Shote from Louisville.
From Louisville. That's right. The kid from
yeah.
Louisville is supposed to be extremely
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it. Louisville didn't make a lot of screen time for me on college football this year, so I kind of forgot. But
that's what I mean. And he's kind of new on the scene, and he's supposedly very.
They had an explosive offense.
Tools.
I mean, they'd put up 40, 50 points.
Yeah.
They ran that no huddle. They play quick.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he can sling it. So we'll see on that. But maybe it does turn out to be good. So I don't know. I don't think you make these moves without that in mind. But I could be wrong there. I just, again, I got nothing against the kid. I get concerned when all I hear is accuracy and timing, because that's college ball, and that's even the conference you're in. You got to have the arm too. You got to have enough whip to get it done. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We'll see how it goes. But I think it's going to be interesting how that all plays out, and we may be in a great position. Now, I was thinking about this morning, Graham, and so you've got what's best for the team, right? That's clearly big, but you also have another factor in 2025. This is the first draft of Liam, James, and Tony. And I hear the hunt's phenomenal. I love what Baselli's saying, what the standard is. It's good. We've needed that for a very long time. But this is an important draft, right, for them. And not just for this year, not for just this year's team, but making a pick you're going to count on, wherever it is, for a very long time. That's the hope, right?
In 5-6 years,
yeah, you want him here,
starter,
right? You want to redo his contract.
Yeah.
You want him here for a long time, like a Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a Josh Allen. Josh, you got to step up your game. Now, we need more out of you next year, but you got to find you. But nonetheless, you're going to, that's what you want out of this. So as you look at the team today, like how it is today, and the new careers of these guys, what's most important this year and long term? Stud offensive tackle, stud defensive tackle, stud edge, like this Jalen Carter kid that they keep mentioning, right? Or somebody in that realm. Or a playmaker on offense. You hear this Gianti. Now, everyone might say, we don't need it. But, okay, so here's the thing. And you could do this with every position, right? So let's do it with Mason Graham. Well, if Mason Graham is somewhere close to Aaron Donald, it's a no-brainer. You make the pick, right? If he's going to be that kind of pro, then you make the pick. If Ashton Gianti's going to be close to Fred Taylor, you make the pick, right? I'm talking Jags. I'm not talking anybody else. I'm talking the Jags and where they're at with their team and their roster right now.
What's funny about Genti is his, in my opinion, and a lot of people have said this, his NFL comp is Maurice Jones-Drew.
I've seen LT. I've seen LaDainian Tomlinson.
Maurice Jones-Drew more.
Big time. But whatever. The only question and look, it's a question, is who he played against week in and week out. I know he's a tough kid. I know he's built. I know he's got speed. He's got all that stuff. But the NFL is much different. Doesn't mean he can't. Doesn't mean he can't. We've seen all types of running backs from all different types of schools, drafted at all different times, have a very productive career. But what's most important? A playmaker on offense. What about Ted? What about, I don't think you'd take him at 5, but what about Tyler Warren? Like, you got to make, it is important for them. This is a very important draft, not just for our team, but for the organization and for these guys that are making the pick. Right? I know Dale asked, why aren't they doing the top 30 visits? The Rams don't do it. It's this whole, we don't want to show our hand. It's not a big deal. You've interviewed all these guys. You got your top 30. You hit them at the combine. You may go see them, but you don't have to bring them in. Yeah, hey, Sonny, good morning. I agree. I would take Travis Hunter at number 5. I would, but he may be gone. Especially if the Giants don't take Sanders. The Giants may take him, The Patriots, although you keep hearing tackle, they may be like, well, hey man, we need a lot. We need a lot of help. And what's deeper, the offensive tackle class or a playmaker who can play both ways? You know what it is, right? So you take that Travis Hunter, and then Jags too. If he's there, number 5, he trumps it. I think Carter would trump it too, Abdul Carter, if he fell for some reason. I think that would be somebody I would jump on. Jalen Walker. I know what we think. We think of who was drafted high from Georgia that went to Philly. Great player off the edge. Was so fast. I get that, and I would like that too. Look, he comes in and really helps, but that's not high on my priority. Now, I do want someone off the bench. We need some more pass rushers on this team, but I tell you what, and you hear all these people still talking, chattering. I think Trayvon Walker is poised to be a total stud in the National Football League. I think he's pretty close to being there, if not there. He may not be there consistently. He's probably got to work on that, but they all did, including Josh Hines-Allen on the other side. With the presence of Armstead on the inside, I think will matter. And then Mason Smith or whoever else gets that other spot. And obviously there won't be that major of a rotation, but you do rotate your pass rushers in. And so having one come off the bench would be great. I don't know if I'd go number 5 there. I think for me it comes down to, I get the playmaker, but I would want what Coach Coughlin wanted when Tony Baselli was sitting there at number 1. Now, the guys coming out today aren't him in this class, but you build it from up front, You build it from up front. He grabbed the running back later in that first draft, if you remember, my man James Stu, who was awesome. So he did take care of a playmaker, so to speak, running back, so to speak. But he started with a stud left tackle. And if you feel that Armand Membu out of Missouri or Will Campbell out of LSU are studs, potential studs, to be your left tackle, and Hunter's already gone, and Abdul's already gone, Carter's already gone, I'm taking an offensive tackle over a defensive tackle. I am personally, especially because of Trevor. Without a doubt, I got some cool notes from Trevor. I saw a cool quote. Actually, Travis Holmes. Appreciate you putting it out there on Twitter. But to me, that's what I have. And then if you don't agree, which is fine, you don't have to agree. But think about it this way: like, okay, take Walker and Anton, right? Take our left tackle and our right tackle. Then go to the defensive side and take Armstead, Mason Smith, and maybe Jordan Jefferson. Other than that, I don't trust anybody else to make an impact in the inside any longer. The other guys, I don't think so, but that's not up to me to decide. So, excuse me, when you look at it like that, what's up more upgradable? Like what do you feel more comfortable with? You can only pick one. You pick the D line with Armstead and Mason Smith inside with our 2 stud edge rushers, or an O-line with okay offensive tackles. Maybe better than okay if Anton turns it around. But they're fine. They're not going to kill you. Although on occasion they'll get your quarterback killed, but not consistently. You know what I mean? So what makes you feel better? Like, say you could only dress one side, which you're not. Listen, the first 4 picks, they're going to, I'd be shocked if they don't address O-line and D-line within those first 4 picks. Absolutely shocked. Because they need more. They need more. And now, granted, the new guys, no disrespect, I haven't really watched you play. You're going to get your shot. But I don't know. For me, I'm going, offensive tackle. I'm putting that Campbell kid and Membo side by side, and I'm going to make a decision. If I stay at 5, and even if I drop back, then we'll see. But you got to protect Trevor Lawrence. You have to. There can't be. It's got to be like, and I'm not going to say he is that, and we don't know what he'll be, or either one of them. But just think of the left tackles out there that are really, really good, that you don't have to worry about the rusher that much. On occasion, but rarely. No, you can't. Look, Trent Williams is probably the number one guy, or has been for a while. Mayata for the Eagles, another big. Wirfs, I think they moved him to left. He's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like those kind of guys. That's what I want, and I think they would want that too. Now, if Mason Graham, now I asked, because my concern, and I know he weighs in about 306, 310. Mason Graham out of Michigan. He just doesn't, like, his lower half looks big, and he's a wrestler, so I do like that. So he knows leverage. If he's been wrestling that long, those guys, they're sick with that kind of stuff. They're really good with that. Wrestlers are the toughest guys out there. You don't want to mess with a wrestler in the street. I'm telling you right now, you just don't. Unless you can knock him out, but you better get him good. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to mess with anybody. I'm just saying.
You think football practice is hard?
Yeah, no kidding. Right now, wrestlers are tough as nails. So it's one-on-one. There's nobody saving your ass. It's tough as. And when you know leverage, you know how to get around people. You know how to move around people. You know how to get people off you, that kind of thing. And I'm not just talking on the field. But I'm a little concerned that he gets engulfed by these bigger offensive linemen. Now, Coach Campos says he's been watching him and says his hands are violent, like Aaron Donald. Look, Aaron Donald, not only strong, fast, and quick, his hands were ridiculously violent. Like you put your hands up and he's like, quapa, and he's whacking your ulna, isn't that your ulna right there or something like that? And like your whole hand and arm goes numb. You try to regain it while you try. I'm being a little bit over the top, but he was so violent with his hands and so quick that he's untouchable to block. Like he was really hard to block. I don't think that Mason Graham has that kind of athleticism. I don't know. Look at Braden Fisk. Who's more athletic? And we've only watched Graham a little bit, but who would you say? I think Fisk is. I think Brandon Fisk is really, really athletic for an interior defensive lineman. Now, he had a great rookie year. He's got to back it up with another one. But you didn't take him 5 overall. And he's not Aaron Donald, but he's very good. You know what I mean? I don't know. Look, again, if they pick Mason Graham, I'm going to be all for it. Because I will reiterate what Fat Tony says on Jaguars today. He's like, look, I don't think any of our 3 techniques warrant not someone being drafted, that high because of them.
That's right.
So I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I just personally think Mason Smith's going to be a terror. I think they're going to get him to play ridiculously good football.
Porque no los dos.
You going a little Spanish on me? What are we doing here?
Give me why can't I have 2 terrors?
You can. Well, maybe maybe Eric Armstead's going to be a terror this year, at least for this year. Maybe Jordan Jefferson's going to be a terror. You need a nose still, though. I'm telling you, you need a nose. You don't have a nose.
The way I think about
you need a big fat nose tackle, in my opinion.
The way I think about it, Tommy, is I think beyond this year, I don't know if Eric Armstead's going to be on the team.
No, I know.
So
I know.
You're and you said it earlier. You're not just thinking this year. You're thinking this year and years to come. I agree with you. I think Mason Smith toward the end of last year really showed you something.
He's coming on.
He really showed you, like, man, you get this guy with a full training camp because he was kind of banged up last training camp, and then there's the weird not dress.
There was no accountability. Okay, just leave it like that.
You just get him a normal off season where he's just doing what he's supposed to be doing with his coaches, getting developed. I agree with you. That guy can be a beast. Eric Armstead still can obviously give you something on the inside, pass rush wise, and then you give me another young stud rookie that can't be blocked. Now I got something I'm pretty excited about.
I don't know if Mason Graham can't be blocked.
No, I'm saying in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, I got you.
I'm saying,
and here's the thing too, and sorry to cut you off there at the last second. Look at how deep the classes are, the positions are. We went over it a couple weeks ago. Like D tackle is one of the deepest there, so you have to press and take him at 5.
Right.
When one could be there at 36. Could.
Yeah.
Like a really good one. Like maybe not, he didn't run as fast, or maybe he's, his arms are 3/8 of an inch shorter.
Right.
You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And same with they said, well, offensive tackle. Yeah, offensive tackle's pretty decent. That was 3rd in the ranking. So there's some OTs out there. The edges, no, you probably got to grab an edge early. What about McMillan? See, I think I could get that, but man, I don't know. With Baselli so involved, and Liam and what he says about the offensive line and the way Gladstone talks about what kind of O-line they want, I got to think if the O-lineman's there, wherever they pick, unless Travis is there and unless Abdul Carter's there, I get that, but man, I don't know. I'd want a left tackle to help out my QB.
Let's take, and I think you're going to agree with me on this based on what you just said. Let's take Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter out of this equation for a second.
They're already picked. Let's just say they're picked.
Because they changed this.
They
obviously.
trump everything.
Yeah.
I say they trump anything that I would really think.
I agree. Yep. So let's say they're off the board. Whatever. That's history. Would you be borderline shocked at this point if the pick at 5 is not an offensive or defensive lineman?
No, I don't think I'd be shocked.
I think I would be.
Even a playmaker. I mean, you could make the case. Now, granted, you got the new guy Brown from Washington, and we don't know that much about him other than he had a good playoff run last year, right? So you got to. I guess we say the same thing about him as we do the 3 techniques on the team, right? He's good. We like him. We don't know how good. We'll see. But he's not that good to where you wouldn't take, a Ted McMillan at number 5, right? I agree. That's not high on my list. I want the lines. I want the beef. We need it. Some nasty beef up there.
And to the point that you just said, like, they have talked, all the powers that be now between Tony, Liam, and Gladstone, they have talked ad nauseum about the trenches.
Absolutely.
The trenches.
Look what they did in free agency. What'd they do to that line?
And to me, they went really heavy on O-line and in free agency. They got extra depth. They got extra people to compete. All that. Yep. They didn't really get much on the defensive line.
No.
And this is a really, really deep defensive line draft.
Correct.
I don't think it's that hard to connect the dots here saying that I believe when the draft is over, they're going to walk away with 2 or 3 defensive linemen between interior and edge.
And edge. At least 2.
To me, that means one guy high in like first or second round, and then you take a flyer on a 4th and see what he gives you. That's what it means to me.
I look at again I keep bringing the kid up from Missouri, and look, we didn't watch him that much. I saw the stats. I saw that he's an all big all conference, all that kind of stuff. Didn't give up many sacks, many pressures. He is just massive and can really move. And it looks like he's got the right temperament that you want as a tackle. So to me, like Will Campbell, I think he would grind out a great game for you. You know what I mean? Tough, physical, getting after. You'd love him. We'd all love him here in Jacksonville. Our kind of player. But I think Membu's a little more special than that. I think he's got that, but he's got tremendous athletic ability. His athletic score was in the 90s, which is phenomenal for a guy that's 332 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, that's almost, I don't want to say can't miss because you can't say that, but if those guys are gone and you're staying at number 5, I mean, Trevor's my guy. I gotta make sure. Okay. Now you could say, well, wait a minute, Tommy. They brought in some guys that are gonna at least compete for the spot, right? They're not handing the job to any of them, really, to be honest with you. I know that for a fact. You got to earn this on this team. Now, granted, the new guys, Hainsley's the center. We know these. Bakari's a guard. You know what I mean? But you're gonna you're talking to Ezra. You're talking about Walker, even Anton. Now, I'm expecting Anton to really turn it around. First round pick. You got to be a total stud right tackle. We thought you were gonna be. You were your first year. Kind of dipped a little bit last year. Maybe back on track, but you're supposed to be a stud right tackle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that to come back, but he's still got to earn it. And they all going to have to earn it. So you could sit there and be like, all right, well, maybe there's enough competition, and you come out with a great, 5 starting line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Out of the guys that you brought in.
Yeah.
So and then you that doesn't mean you don't approach it later. You know what I mean? Like second round or third round or fourth, whatever. So I don't know. I just think that kid from Armand from Missouri is kind of special in that regard. And I want a stud. I mean, look, no disrespect to any of them, but when was the last time Jacksonville had a stud left tackle? We've had some very good ones. I'm not going to disrespect those guys. but how about it like a just ridiculously gifted left tackle? That was mean and nasty. Like Baselli. When's the last time we've ever had anyone near a Tony Baselli at left tackle?
We have not.
Anywhere near. Eugene Monroe was good, right?
Cam Robinson was fine.
Cam was good for a while. I thought Cam was really good. I know when he first got here, I remember standing next to Tony. He's like, man, his technique's terrible. Like, he's an athlete, you could see, big and strong. He's like, but, man, his hands, his feet, they're all over the place. I remember him and Log saying that to me on the sideline during camp. But he was fine. Just not a stud, like a total beast at left tackle. That just, when you got that, I'm telling you, it resonates all the way through.
But
it resonates all the way through.
Tony was Trent Williams.
He was.
Tony was.
Without a doubt.
He was
Jonathan Ogden.
Jonathan Ogden, right. He was Orlando Pace. He was that guy.
Right. Membo's more of a guess in that regard.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And this franchise, since the day that they put Tony up for the expansion draft, they have not had a left tackle like that. They've had some decent ones that are fine. They have not had that.
Yeah.
They have not had, here's my stalwart left tackle. Here's my guy. I don't got to worry about. He's going against Myles Garrett. He's going against T.J. Watt. I don't care. I like my guy.
Yep.
They have not had that.
No, right.
But not by any means.
And I'd like that.
I mean, I go back to that Browns game.
And can I say? Oh, go ahead. Finish up.
I was gonna say I go back to that Browns game, second week of the season.
Yep.
Myles Garrett absolutely ate Cam Robinson's lunch.
What did Chris Jones do?
Right.
All across the line.
Right. And look, Myles Garrett's a really, 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 really good player, right? And Chris Jones, really, like those guys are going to get. Those guys are going to get theirs at times. Okay, I'm even okay if Myles Garrett beats your left tackle and he gets 2 sacks. I'll live with it.
Right.
But if it's every single play he's living in my backfield and you can't do anything and you're a vet that's been paid, I can't accept that. I cannot accept that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Can't have that.
I agree. I was going to say that I'm not saying that Membu is that, but that's an educated guess that I might be willing to take.
Well, it's a ceiling floor thing.
Yeah.
I mean, right. I think we probably both agree. Will Campbell, and there's almost no chance Will Campbell's a bust or bad.
Right.
Right. Well, you know that floor.
Let me ask you, and it's probably not fair to say, but you could maybe Will Campbell, Armand Membu, as good as Walker Little is at the minimum right now. If that's your floor, they're as good as him.
Oh, I'd say Will Campbell, yeah, I would say so. Membu, I think still we're talking the reason he's such a high pick is these traits, right? And there's a world where he doesn't put it together and can't do much of anything, and I think Walker Little is serviceable. So that one's closer.
Okay.
But I mean, Walker Little coming out. What was Walker Little coming out of college? He had been hurt, but he had been prototype. Like
if he didn't get hurt, he might have been a high first round pick.
Right, and this guy was supposed to be the next Baselli when they picked him. So you just never know until they get in the league. Will Campbell, I'd say yeah. I think Membu, you're taking more of a risk, but the payoff could be with the physical abilities. You've got a stud.
Well, here's the thing. Also, I think we should factor in. Because I know Tony's going to be hands-on as much as he can be. You know he's talking to Walker about mentality, about attitude. You know Liam is too. I mean, they want guys that finish blocks. They've made that very clear. Gladstone even. These are the kind of guys we're looking for, that finish blocks, that are aggressive and tenacious and are going to finish their blocks to the whistle. So that's going to be a message across the front. And it could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be like, if you're not going to play that way, you're not going to play on my starting O-line. So maybe they've already had those discussions, and Tony's like, no, you know what? Because look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Walker Little's got all the tools to be a very, very good, I said all-pro left tackle in this game if he would only turn on that mean and nasty switch during games, and be that aggressive type player. I think he would be. Because look, Baselli was that. He wasn't just gifted athletically and strong and could move. He had an attitude. Like you didn't want to go against him because he was coming at you all game. He wanted to embarrass you. He wanted to make sure that break your will. I mean, that's what, that's football.
But Tommy, can you turn on a switch that's not there?
I don't know. I got to think it's in him somewhere. You don't play that long. You know what I mean? He's got to have some kind of fire.
I feel like in college, in high school and college, when you're just that good and you're that athletic and you're that dominant,
yeah.
Do you have to have it, or are you just so physically good that it's fine?
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Have it. Because how do you be dominant if you don't have the mental to be dominant, right? That's an attitude.
Yeah.
I want to dominate.
Yeah.
So I got to have that attitude within me. I'll tell you this, and whatever. I wasn't out there on the time, but Baselli wouldn't have checked on the QB after the hit. He would have gone after the guy that hit the QB without question. There would have been none. He would have been more than happy to. I've seen it live. So that's what I want. Like, and if they're not that, and maybe they feel like we got it here at least for now, okay, then we move on. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, it's a terrible. I'm not going to say any of them is a terrible pick, because we do have different needs, and we do. We need a corner, right? We need another corner. We need a safety. We need a defensive tackle. We need an offensive tackle. We need another playmaker, right? We do. We do. And by the way, I saw Hacker, was it last night? Are we calling this a rebuild now? Because we were told it's not a rebuild. It's a 4-win team. This isn't a 4-win team. Yet we're going to gut the shit out of it. Start over. I don't think it's a rebuild at all. I think it's just fill in the blanks and take what you have and let's, grease it with cement, put it all together, get the foundation, get the attitude, and boom, we go, and we add as we go. But it's going to be fun, man. That thing's right around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. Little look around the National Football League. Geno Smith, brought to you by my friends at Team Tommy Mac. Just go check out TommyMac.net if you would, please. And go see, you'll see this. By the way, you'll see every episode of Catching Up. And you'll now see every episode of my celebrity guests at the bar at the Horse's Mouth. So all right there on TommyMac.net, and all the logos of all team members are there. Just click on them and you'll go right to the respective websites. Team Tommy Mac, always there for you. Crystal Cereals, Bail Bonds, Carpet Man Flooring, Morgan & Morgan, J-Dog Junk Removal, Azar Sausage, Code Ninjas, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, Salt Air Inn and Suites, Family Tradition Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's Hot Sauces, Freedom Finance, and the Baracus Group to take care of all your security. Love them all. Check them all out, please. All right, Geno Smith rakes in a nice extension. 2-year, $75 million at $66.5 million in guaranteed money from the Raiders. Geno Smith. Congrats, Geno. What a career. You know what I mean? You thought it was over. The guy was bouncing all over, and he had a little resurrection, didn't he? Good for him, man.
He the new Kirk Cousins, the new Derek Carr.
Yeah. Good call. Even he's got a little bit of Gannon in there, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. Got to a Super Bowl. But yeah, no, he's good for him, man. Good for all of them. Make that kind of money. Trey McBride, the Cardinals tight end, becomes the highest paid tight end in NFL history on a per year basis. Now just surpassing Travis Kelce, 4-year deal, $76 million. $43 million guaranteed. Now listen, you telling me they're not laundering money? Geno Smith getting $66 million in guaranteed money? They're laundering that shit, man. You know it. Holy cow. They're just like, here's those fake money guns that they have on stages. They're just throwing that money out at everybody. You want to be the highest paid? Sure, let's do it. Why not? Who cares?
That's why every single CBA they bargain for more games, Tommy.
No doubt. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean,
You're right.
As many games as the NFL and the owners will be able to squeeze without it diluting the product.
Yep.
And I think 18 will probably be that cutoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So they play 17 games right now. All 17 are cash cows.
Big time.
All of them.
Big time.
Even if it's Jaguars Titans on December 15th in Nashville and it's overcast at 1 p.m. and there's 7 people in the stands. Still a cash cow.
Yeah.
Still.
Because of the TV.
Because of the TV.
That's right.
Because of Red Zone.
Digital. I mean, they're raking in the bucks all over the place.
Gambling, TV.
I mean, the cap went up $25 million in 1 year again.
And why did that happen?
Come on. Because they're making so much
They're
money.
hand over fist, bro.
And the players are getting 50%. That's what they fought for.
Yeah.
But I agree. I mean, look, and if I'm a player, I don't know. As long as my salary keeps going up, my value keeps going up, I'd play another game, especially if I didn't have to play preseason.
And selfishly for me, Tommy.
And I was cemented on the team because I needed preseason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Selfishly for me, Tommy, I like more. I'm never going to complain about more football, right?
Yep.
So I believe what's probably going to happen is 18 games and they get an extra bye week.
Yep.
To extend it 2 weeks.
Yep.
Almost all of February, I got ball.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about the offseason. We didn't even have one this year. I mean, the combine was here the week, it felt like. Like you had like a week and a half or maybe 2 weekends of what are we doing to boom, here comes the combine.
It was like, congrats, Eagles.
Yep.
Congrats, Eagles. Armand Membu, what a 40.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Exactly. And Trey Hendrickson trying to get a deal with the Bengals. He makes $21 million a year right now, and he's ranked 10th in the league at that number. Josh Hines-Allen makes $10 million a year more than Trey Hendrickson right now. So you know that something ain't right there. They're hoping to get it done. Granted, they threw out a lot of money this year to their star wide receivers. But I tell you what, man, I've watched that guy since he was an New Orleans Saint. When he was a free agent, I wanted us to grab him big time. We obviously didn't, and he's gone on to have a tremendous career. He's one of the purest, all-natural pass rushers in today's game.
He's also the most underappreciated pass rusher
yeah,
in the NFL.
He may not wow you with his size, speed, and all that, but he's just like, I don't know, man. He just gets the job done. He's very good with his technique. He is very athletic. He's big enough. And that's the thing. I was saying to somebody, I'm like, you don't have to be the strongest. You got to be strong enough, You don't have to be the fastest. You got to be fast enough, and you got to know how to play the game. And that guy's relentless in his rush. And tell you what, back to back, these past 2 years, he's been phenomenal. But every year, he's double digits, and sometimes even like high double digits. Last year was 17.5. He won and I think the year before he was around the same, something like that. So that's what you call consistency, Josh Hines-Allen. I'm sorry, he went from 17.5 to 9.5, right? You can give me all this, but the pressures, Tom, but the pressures. I'll be like, yeah, great. Well, Trey Hendrickson went back-to-back at high. You know what I mean? So other guys have. It's what he paid you for. We need more than 9.5 out of Josh Hines-Allen. I don't care how many pressures he gets. Pressures are overrated anyway.
Well, and we've talked about this so many times. If you're truly getting that type of pressure,
yep,
you should have more than 9.5 sacks.
That's right. Good call.
There's no way. No way. Because who tells us he has all these pressures?
Yeah, why aren't you finishing?
But who tells us he has Pro Football Focus and all these, right?
Right.
And those guys do good work. I'm not trying to disrespect them, but if they're really causing that kind of havoc in the backfield, how does he not have more than 9.5 sacks?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Good point.
You can't tell me. There's no way.
No, you're absolutely
It's not
right.
possible.
Why
I don't
aren't
believe
you
that.
Finishing that deal. So, look, I do think having Armstead on the inside and having a better presence will help. I'm all out. All right, we're going to finish with Liam Cohen on what he says he's been working on with Trevor, which I totally agree with. And I love what he says, and I'll quote him in just a second. I do have to haul ass to Jaguars Today in a few minutes if you want to check out Mike Dempsey, Fat Tony, myself, and Dylan Denmark, 10 to 12 noon. Of course, if you're here locally on the FM dial at 92.5. But if you're not, it's at 1010XL.com or the 1010XL app. Cohen says he's working on Trevor's footwork, and I want to thank Travis Holmes for putting this out there on X. I got it this morning during my prep. So much is built on lower half and the mind on quarterbacks, says Liam Cohen. That is absolutely true. And really, it's true for every position. It's almost, you could probably say it's true for every sport. Your footwork is key, right? Shooting hoops, guarding basketball, boxing, fighting, right? Playing quarterback, playing DB. All of it. Think about your footwork and how important it is. but it truly is with quarterback. And the whole part about the mind, that's what they're going to be working on. And that's what needs to be worked on, which is a good thing. Maybe he'll see the game differently. It helped Baker Mayfield a ton. I said it before. The pre-snap reads is half the battle, if not more. To have an idea where you're going every single time. Now you got to put it in the right place, but to have an idea where you're going, half the battle has been won. You don't have to figure it out while the play's going in motion. At least you have an idea. And I like that there were. He said the stroke is the stroke. They're not going to change his throwing motion, which is basically what he's saying. That's how he throws it. That's how we're going to let him throw it. We're just going to work on the lower half and his mind. Fantastic. Because if those come together, he could have a really big year. And I know everyone will be like, I told you so. I'm like, hey, listen, man, I got to see it to believe it. And we've seen it. We have in spurts, in glimpses. Now we need it all together. And hopefully they get that done. All right, no dad bods this weekend. We will be back out on the road in Jack's Beach at the American Legion next Saturday. That should be fun on April the 12th. But I wish you all a great, great weekend. And thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you got everything out of it that I put in it, man, because I love hosting the show. Thanks, Grammage. Thanks, 1010XL. We'll see you on the other side of Jaguars today. Until next time, stay safe and stay cool. And we'll see you right here at Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace and love, everybody. Have a great weekend.